Okay, welcome back. We're digging deeper on the drive to bond and its relationship with happiness, right? And we talked about the drive to comprehend, meaning how important that is. And I think what struck me once was hearing is like, we're such a social species that the severest punishment that we've come up with is loneliness. Yeah, in in prison, it's isolation, right? Banning for people that were not part of society was a horrible punishment. Isolation is just difficult to bear as a social species. Once that hit me, it's like, oh my God, you know what? What are we doing to ourselves when we are sort of organizing ourselves for this individual loneliness that many of us are experiencing in the current sort of society, but also I think in the workplace. Now, I don't know if that resonates with you, because many times that you were sort of saying what made you happy at work was the kind of bonding, right? But what resonates with you about this notion of the drive to bond, the loneliness at this point, and unhappiness?
I think that isolation in a lot of corporate companies is a growing issue. As a recent MBA graduate, I've gone on a number of interviews, and I've actually rejected offers to the dismay of my parents or expectations of me, especially my school. One of the things that I absolutely cannot stand in an office, especially many modern offices nowadays, as cool as their corporate culture may seem on the outside, on the inside, it looks like a lot of cubicle work. I had an internship at a software development company where literally we were at a cubicle all day, and I would say hi to people in the morning. They would look at me like I was crazy or I was interrupting them. And then I would open my computer and I would have a Skype message like, hi, here's what we need you to work on today. And it was from the person directly beside me. And this was a complete disconnect. And I don't know if this is because I'm like a hyper extroverted person, and then, you know, we all have different personality types. But for me, it felt so isolating, especially it was almost more isolating to be among people and feel that isolated. And then it really demotivated me. And I think that there's a trend right now, there's an obsession with cubicles. Even in the most innovative companies, you go in and you see these cubicles. How is this humane today? How is this so widely accepted is an issue, but it also maybe speaks to a lot of the growing mental health issues that we have. So I think that it definitely is a problem, and it inhibits that drive to bond, especially if it's a place that you spend majority of your, you know, a minimum, if you're lucky, we always say 9 to 5, but most jobs aren't even 9 to 5, right? They're 8 to 6 at a minimum.
And internships may be longer because you want to prove yourself.
Absolutely.
And that sort of seems to be the...
Yeah, and you're there, and even though you're in this room with all these people, you're alone. And not all companies have that, especially marketing companies tend to like steer away from that.
But from cubicles?
Well, not necessarily from cubicles, but there's a lot more collaboration or like team meetings. Yeah. But there's also a lot of very like mechanical roles within marketing. I was doing digital marketing, so that looked like SEO and creating advertising. So I thought I was going to go into this like sort of agency environment where there would be a lot of collaboration and team meetings, and we'd be coming up with new ideas. And it didn't look like that. It looked like a lot of like optimizing websites and key searches, and it was such a harsh, discovery.
Interesting. And it didn't make you happy?
It made me miserable.
Oh, wow.
And that miserable transferred into my home life. I mean, honestly, I dreaded every single night. I had so much anxiety. I would have to take like Tylenol PM to go to sleep. We talk about the drug crisis.
Oh, wow, yeah.
To think about like, oh my gosh, I have to go back there tomorrow. And it was exhausting.
Wow.
And it was so crazy because it was such an easy fix to it. Like changing the layout of the office, having more team meetings.
Well, just, connecting.
Right.
I think it's funny you say that, because having been in an agency where everything was a meeting, there were so many times I'd sit there and be like, this could have been an email. Like, I do not, like, we were so big on teamwork and collaboration that there were days that I never hit my desk for longer than 5 minutes because I had meetings back to back to back. And I was like, I can't get anything done. So I'd be at the office forever because I'd finally be done with my meetings at 5 p.m. and be like, okay, so now I can start my day. Because everyone was so hyper focused on not being like not cordial that we had meetings for everything. I'm like, you could have sent this in an email, and if I had a question, I would have come to your desk. But like, we didn't have the Skype thing. We all G-chatted each other all the time, but it was more just to gossip and talk about things rather than work. So it would always be like, hey, can you swing by? Like, I have a question for you. And I really enjoyed that. At my internship, I felt lonely, but for a very different reason. I got stuck on a team that was based in Dallas, but they told me the day before my internship started. So I was like, I'm not moving to Dallas. I'm staying in DC because I can't find a place to live. And they're like, yeah, we didn't expect you to, but you'll work remote. So I didn't have a team. I sat at a different team's pod area, but didn't interact with them because they weren't my team. I would occasionally have a call from my boss in Dallas, and I'd get Skype messaged all the time. And so it was a very lonely existence. And part of the reason I didn't go back was I couldn't get that impression of the company out of my mind. Because for me, I was like, you did not do an intern any favors, because here I am lonely. A big part of an internship is experiencing the corporate culture. Right. I went to no meetings. I didn't sit in on any appointments. And so for me, I was just like, this absolutely sucks. I hate this. And on top of that, I was going through some personal issues. So for me, the entire internship was tainted. And it was lonely. And I was so used to such a collaborative environment where everything was a meeting that I couldn't even get used to this environment, whether the team had probably been in DC or not.
So there's loneliness on various levels, right? And there is even like loneliness when you are with a lot of people, right? When you don't feel you're connecting, or when the media, the technology doesn't help you connect. Technology is neutral, right? It can help you connect, and you felt connected through the GChat or whatever function, but it's how you use it, right? and how people feel like they're still part of something bigger. They're part of a team working towards something together, not to be lonely. We're so fundamentally social, and once you understand that, it's like so hard to unsee, and yet we violate that sociality on so many levels. We try to exclude people. We try to potentially include too many people and still feel like, okay, we're not really part of it in some way. We pretend, and we network, and we do all these kind of things that look good and social, maybe meetings, maybe even contrived happy hours or something like that, and people still hate it. My wife, she dreads going to these meetings because she feels like unsafe. She doesn't feel like she can say the right thing, or she might say the wrong thing. So it's not bonding, right? It's more instrumental. And many people, despite being with people all the time, feel not connected.
I think that's such a big thing. I think, you see these things on Instagram and social media, people being like, I can be in a room full of people and still feel alone. And I think that everyone has experienced that at one point or another, whether it's that you're not with the right group, or it's just people are all on their phones. And I think that that's so sad. And I've definitely felt that way, that you're in a room full of people, and especially new environments. So when business school starts and you're meeting all these people, and it's information overload, it's people overload, and you're in a room of 60 people and feel desperately alone because you haven't connected to anyone yet. And it's a very hard place to be.
And what do you think makes it easier to connect? When did you feel you were connected on an authentic level where you felt happier?
When I can be myself. So typically, before I went to business school, I had no problem speaking with anybody. I never had any hesitation or reluctance. And I honestly could carry a conversation. I could care less about the vocabulary that I was using, and I always had this innate ability to connect with people. And then I went to business school, and we were taught elevator pitches, which, by the way, are so unnatural and awkward. But this was beat into our heads that now, when I go into an interview, I am such a strange, divorced, inauthentic version of myself. And then that's what I'm seeing in a lot of the companies that I was applying to, is just a not natural, almost like you're like a walking LinkedIn page or a PowerPoint. And I think that that's what inhibits people from being authentic and actually truly connecting. Because in the real world, like, people, like, you don't go home to your family and you're like, I'd love for you to elaborate on that, And obviously there's going to be a difference either way, and you understand the need for a certain amount of formality, but just this kind of inauthentic layer of formality that business calls for. That also allows a lot of these psychopaths in the office to get away with kind of looking like top achievers, because they're able to kind of, speak that language and walk that walk, but it's just not conducive to actual bonding, and that's what makes me feel isolated.
And I think, because we need to wrap this up, there's a lot more to unpack, right? Let me just throw this out for you and for you students at home to think about. When you connect, you need to be able to be vulnerable, right? And this is the drive to defend. when you feel safe, the psychological safety, when you have friends around you, when there's trust, then you can sort of connect with people. You might not necessarily like people in a way, but you can feel like they're connecting with you at your inner core, the authenticity, right, that you bring in. And that oftentimes in workplaces is not there. There are too many zombies running around, right? And that makes people feel lonely. So the good and the best cultures can break that. They can understand that we are fundamentally social, that we want to connect authentically, we want to be who we are. That doesn't mean we're pigeonholed in who we are seen from the outside. We can grow, right? We can grow to be a better version of ourselves. And we're given that trust, we can connect, we can be authentic. And that's what makes people happy. And an absence of that makes people scared and unhappy.